be seated. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm Marcus Schantz. I'm president of the college, and I'm pleased to welcome you all to Conrad Grebel University College's 2024 Convocation Celebration. Students, we're here to celebrate your upcoming graduation from the University of Waterloo. For the most part, you're not actually graduating today, and I know that some of you may not even be finished your exams and papers yet, and we're happy that you've taken the time to be with us today, even though I know you're busy. We plan this event now in April because you're all still here on campus, and we want to celebrate and say goodbye before you leave. You've each been important members of our college community over the past few years, and we're grateful for the privilege of knowing you. Most of the students who cross the floor today won't receive degrees. Our Master of Theological Studies students are the exception. Everyone else will officially receive their degrees at university convocations later on in the year, and I encourage all of you to attend those wider university events. Completing university is an accomplishment, and it's a good thing to celebrate, and to celebrate twice. Conrad Grebel was founded by Mennonites and remains formally affiliated with Mennonite Church Eastern Canada. So our celebration today includes things that are important to Mennonites and to Christians more generally when we gather for important events. We will sing and we will pray, and we do this in a spirit of sharing or offering something from our tradition that's important to us. You're welcome to join us in this, and you're equally welcome not to participate according to your own inclination. Although this is a solemn proceeding, it's also supposed to be joyful, and it's possible to be both serious and joyful at the same time, and you're all welcome within the bounds of good taste and reason to express your joy. And specifically, if there are any families with young children here or babies, I want you to feel welcome. So if your toddler or your baby is making some noise or expressing joy in their own way, please don't be embarrassed or anxious or upset, and certainly don't feel like you have to muzzle them. Let them be part of this gathering in their own way. Conrad Grebel College is located on the traditional territories of the Attawandaron, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee peoples. The college and the University of Waterloo were built on the Haldimand Tract, the land granted in 1784 to the Six Nations, which includes 10 kilometers on each side of the Grand River from its source in Dundalk to its mouth in Lake Erie. In 1805, Mennonites from Pennsylvania purchased 60,000 acres of land, Block 2 of the Haldimand Tract, in present-day Kitchener-Waterloo, and that includes the lands where we're gathered today. The land was granted to support the Six Nations. The fund paid to purchase these lands was supposed to benefit the Six Nations in perpetuity, but this did not happen. Mennonites from Pennsylvania were the first permanent settlers of European descent here in Waterloo region. In the early 1800s, the initial settlers were led to the Grand River with its surrounding fertile soil and forests by a guide from the Mississauga of the Anishinaabe, people who lived here and who understood the land. And there are stories passed down in my community from those early days that suggest that there were neighborly interactions among settlers and indigenous peoples, trade and mutual aid and assistance, and neighborly relations. However, as the settlement grew, the Mississauga were displaced from their use of the lands, and settlers' memories of their indigenous neighbors began to fade. Conrad Grebel is committed to the work of relearning our history with all of its complications and injustices as a step towards right relations with indigenous peoples. At this time, it's my honor to introduce our convocation speaker, Betty Preece. For over 30 years, Betty's vocation has been to assist individuals, organizations, and communities in resolving conflicts, making decisions, facing change, and working through complicated problems together. She's the founder and CEO of Credence & Company, a consultancy in mediation, facilitation, and training. Betty's highly regarded and sought after for her capacity to care deeply, listen well, and help others to listen to each other, and to provide wise and thoughtful support to those who seek her assistance. Among other training, Betty's a graduate of Grabel's Master of Theological Studies program and obtained a doctorate from the Free University of Amsterdam. She's taught in Grabel's Peace and Conflict Studies program and is a frequent leader of workshops in our community education program. Please join me in welcoming Betty Priest.
How many of you know the essay, "All I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten"? The essay is simple and profound because it reminds us that what we learned in kindergarten remains relevant as we age. And maybe everything else that we learn over the course of our lives, not to put down the academic work you've done, but everything else we learn is really secondary to what we learned in kindergarten. Share everything, play fair, don't hit people, put things back to where you found them, clean up after your own mess, don't take things that aren't yours, say sorry when you hurt somebody, wash your hands before you eat, flush, and warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. The full essay is clever and it's worth a read if you don't know it. But what I want to focus on today is the last phrase in this essay. It goes like this. And it's still true, no matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. This essayist is not talking about romance here, though that's lovely too. What the essayist is talking about, what he's describing, is something very basic to being human. We are not meant to be alone. We need those who love us, and we also need those who barely tolerate us. We need strangers and we need close friends. We need those with whom we agree and we need those with whom we disagree. We need to receive love and we need to give love. Many of you have likely heard that we are living in a time that has been described as a loneliness epidemic. And while the statistics vary depending on which study you read, what we're looking at here is not a good news story. In a survey provided by Angus Reid in Canada in 2019, and this is before the pandemic, 48% of Canadians identified at that time as very or somewhat lonely. This means that almost half of Canadians before the pandemic were describing themselves as lonely. And we know that the statistics since 2020 have only increased. But if you look at the statistics just for young adults, the numbers are even more alarming. 32% of young adults describe themselves as desolate, which is both lonely and isolated. Another 43% weren't isolated, but still lonely. So added together, in 2019, 75% of Canadian young adults rated themselves as lonely. The impact of loneliness on physical health, mental health, emotional health, and spiritual health is profound. Loneliness is now regarded as being as bad for you as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. We are not meant to be alone. We are meant to walk through this world holding hands and sticking together. I like to say that there are 4 different types of people that you need in your lives, and think of it as a series of concentric circles. In the middle, we find the people with whom we're really close. We need these people because these are the people that we can lean on when we're feeling low, and we know that by leaning on them, we're not going to be a burden. These are the people who know all about us and love us anyway. But we need more than just these people. We also need the people in the rest of the 3 rings of this concentric circle we're building. We need the somewhat close, the people who are not so close but to whom we're still connected, and we also actually need strangers in order to feel human and whole. And unfortunately, for a whole variety of reasons, we tend not to engage very many strangers in our lives, nor do we have a lot of relationships with those with whom we're connected, but not close. How many of you prefer getting groceries delivered to your house or use self-checkout lines? How many of you avoid public transit, or if you are traveling by bus or plane, ignore the person sitting next to you? It turns out that just connecting with those who are closest to us still leaves us lonely. We need all types of people in our lives. Several years ago, I was in Ottawa for work, and I hailed a taxi to get to the train station. The ride to the train station was maybe 10 minutes long. The taxi driver was from Bangladesh, and I've been to Bangladesh. In that short taxi ride, the driver and I spoke and laughed and talked, and together we made sense of this world. When I stepped out of the car, I wished him well, and I said, say hello to your wife and children for me. And then I realized I don't know this guy's wife and children. But it made sense. It made sense. And as I walked into the train station, although I was feeling a bit foolish, because I'd only met him 10 minutes earlier, I knew that somehow, as a result of those 10 minutes with one another, I felt more human than I did before I stepped into that taxi. And my hope is that he also felt the same. I felt more human, I felt more connected, I felt less lonely. Graduates, as you leave Grable and University of Waterloo, your world will both shrink and get bigger. Of course your world will get bigger. Your life and work will take you to fascinating places, and this is wonderful. But your world may also get smaller. As your life becomes busy and as your friends move on to new adventures, it may happen naturally over time that you only end up relating to those with whom you are already close. In fact, in our busyness, and because people around us change, we can be tempted to focus only those with whom we agree, or only with those with whom we're already close. If we are not careful, we risk falling into loneliness. If there are 4 different types of people you need in your life, there are also 4 different types of belonging that we need. We need to belong to ourselves, we need to belong to other people, and we actually need to belong to something bigger than us. Sometimes we call that God, although there are other things that are bigger than us that we can also belong to. And there's also a 4th category. We also need to belong to the land, to the earth that we inhabit. You see, loneliness comes in multiple forms. There's psychological loneliness, which means we're not connected to ourselves. There's social loneliness, which means we're not connected to other people. And there's something called spiritual or existential loneliness, which means we no longer feel like our lives have meaning. And all of these forms of loneliness are correlated to the types of belonging that we need. But here's the thing. If we are missing even one of these 4 categories, we start to lose the others as well. Maybe not immediately, but over time we do. Let me say this again. If we are missing even one of these 4 categories of belonging that we need, we also begin to lose the other forms of belonging. If you don't have social belonging, you're going to start feeling like you don't belong to yourself. And if you don't belong to yourself, you're going to start feeling like there's not something bigger than you that you belong to. As human creatures, we are hardwired for belonging. And when our feelings of belonging falter, we suffer. To be clear, the challenges related to belonging are not an individual phenomenon. If you are lonely, it's not because you're bad or unlovable. Sure, we could all do better at relating to one another and other things, but our culture is struggling collectively with a social inclination that favors the individual over the creation of belonging. And when that happens, our full social fabric is at risk. In short, when we don't create belonging, we polarize and move even further away from one another. Loneliness drives polarization, polarization drives loneliness. Loneliness generates fear of others, and when we're lonely, we risk finding belonging in otherizing those that we fear, or we find belonging in causes that are driven by fear of others. And perhaps most shockingly, the deeper our loneliness, the more that we eventually fear ourselves. But it goes the other way too. Polarization thrives on fear of the other. With ever fewer people to trust, our circles become very small. And eventually, the other is us. The good news is, it doesn't need to be this way. We can buck the trend. No, we must buck the trend for the sake of our lives, for the lives of the people around us, our society, and our world. And that brings us back to what we learned in kindergarten. No matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, hold hands and stick together. What does this mean practically? When you go out into the world, look around you. Whatever your parents taught, you still actually need to talk to strangers. Risk deeper connections with those who are close to you and those not so close to you. Now and then, hang out with people you don't like too much. Engage with those with whom you disagree. Bring food to someone who's not doing so well. Pursue meaning. Practice self-compassion. Take time for wonder. Laugh. And walk lightly on the land. Several weeks ago, I was flying home from Washington, D.C., and after what appeared to be a comedy of errors on the part of the airline, and after many hours of delay in the departure lounge, we were told that our flight was canceled and we would not fly until the next morning. Immediately, people began signing up for lodging at nearby hotels. And in that moment, a tiny miracle happened. You see, during 7 hours of waiting in the departure lounge, looking at one another, but not actually talking with one another, all of a sudden, everybody spoke at once. Then, as we each tried to find both a hotel and a taxi to get us to the hotel, conversations between people really began. It was almost like a bottle was uncorked. The room went from quiet to animated in the blink of an eye. A young 19-year-old woman who was standing next to me, she said, "I'm overwhelmed. I've never had a flight cancel on me before." I said to her, "You stick with me, we'll figure this out together." She became my friend on that evening. 2 cousins from Cape Breton, a family from Nova Scotia, a couple from London, a man from LA, all of them piled into the taxi van next to me and my friend. We laughed and shared stories with one another. We even took some group photos together. And the next morning, my new friend texted to make sure that I was up so that I wouldn't miss our early morning flight home. Several of us hugged when we said goodbye. When I was home again and people asked me how my trip was, I noticed that I was smiling and laughing when I described the flight cancellation. The focus of my retelling was never the delay. No, the focus of my retelling was the amazing people that I met, the joyful conversations that we shared, our laughter with one another. I told how after 7 hours of being alone in a lounge with a group full of people, suddenly everything shifted. We discovered connection, and yes, we experienced belonging. Despite very limited sleep, the spring in my step when I arrived home said it all. We were just a little bit more human because of the community that we had briefly built with one another on that canceled flight evening. No matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. As you graduate and leave this place, may you always find people with whom you can hold hands. And when you find them, be sure to stick together. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Troy Osborne, and as Dean of Conrad Grebel University College, it is my privilege to present to you the undergraduate students who will be receiving University of Waterloo degrees in June or October this year. We're honoring them today because they are completing academic programs offered at Conrad Grebel, or they have made Grebel their home community for a significant part of their time at the University of Waterloo. As we celebrate their accomplishments today, we acknowledge that many of them, as President Shantz noted, may still have exams, final projects, or theses to complete. But once that academic work is completed and assessed, they will receive their University of Waterloo degrees, so today is a day of hopeful expectation. Students, during your time here, the Grebel community has come to know and value your ideas, your talents, your hopes, and your dreams. So when you cross the stage today, you're going to greet several people. You are going to be congratulated by President Shantz, Jesse Reeser-Rempel, or by the head of the Grebel academic unit in which you have studied. But when you do that, know that all of us at Grebel today celebrate your successes and are present in these gestures. There will be gifts provided to all of you back at Conrad Grebel following this celebration. So let us begin by honoring the undergraduates who will receive their University of Waterloo bachelor's degrees at one of the convocation ceremonies later. These students come from all the faculties of the university: arts, health, engineering, environment, mathematics, or science. Some of them made their homes at Conrad Grebel while studying here, whether living or associating in our community, and some today were part of the University of Waterloo undergraduate programs, music, peace and conflict studies, and Mennonite studies. All of you have enriched our lives at Grebel, and thank you. So shortly, the first row of students will stand and make your way to the stage. I will call each of you by your name, and you will then move to the microphone to tell us very briefly about your future plans. Then the president will congratulate you, and you will cross the stage, where the residence program participants will be congratulated by Jesse Reeser-Rempel. If you are in music, you'll be congratulated by Professor Macy Sum, or PAX by Professor Nathan Funk. Then please continue off the stage and return to your seat. To the audience, I invite all of you to join me in enthusiastic applause after all the students have been acknowledged and received. In other words, if you can, hold your applause till the end. So, students, I invite you to come to the stage at this point. Quinn Andres.
After graduation, I'm going to continue to pursue my passion for acting and theater creation.
Elian Sebastian Barba Carvajal.
For the foreseeable future, I plan on taking a break and just work for the summer and spend some much needed time with my family and friends.
Afia Basel.
After graduation, I will be spending time with my family and searching for a job. And also, this is for you, Mom and Dad. I love you guys.
Elijah Burley.
This summer, I'll be working at WMB Church in town, and in the fall, I hope to pursue the field of rehabilitation engineering.
Devin Blankenspore.
I'm excited to pursue my master's in applied mathematics this September at UW.
Ava Booker.
After my program ends in June, I'll be exploring employment opportunities in social services.
Elijah Brahm.
This summer, I've got one more work term in Montreal, and then I'm finishing up my school in the fall.
Kate Bradley.
This fall, I will be attending the University of Ottawa for my master's in history with a specialization in gender and feminist studies.
Isaac Brown.
I'll be graduating in the fall and then hopefully going to grad school after that.
Veronica Champagne.
This fall, I will be entering the Bachelor's of Education program at Laurier University.
Talia Criollo Guerrero.
I am really excited to go back home and eat my mom's fish soup. Thanks, Mom.
Derek DeGilder.
After graduation, I'll be working towards my professional designation as an accountant.
Elias Decoter.
This summer, I will be pursuing work as an audiovisual technician around KW.
Amelia Doltano.
After graduation, I will be attending Teachers College.
Sarah Driediger.
I'm looking forward to attending the University of Waterloo at the School of Optometry starting in September.
Kyle Dyke.
I'll be taking the summer off to travel, and then I hope to work in embedded systems development in the fall.
Ryan Ellis.
I'm excited to start my Master's of Computer Engineering at the fall at Waterloo.
Helen Engelhardt.
I'll be starting my PhD at Oxford University in materials this fall with a Clarendon Scholarship.
Cole Fair.
In the summer, I'll be working, and in the fall, I'll be pursuing a master's in electrical computer engineering at UW.
Isabel Flindle.
I'm headed to Western in the fall to start a Master's of Library and Information Science.
Simon Weber Friesen.
Although my applications are still pending, I'm intending to pursue a degree in physical therapy in the fall.
Colin Enns Funk.
I'm going to go home for the summer and play a lot of music and then try and find a job.
Eden Graham.
After graduating, I will be working at the Region of Waterloo.
Anna Gunter.
I will be attending Brock University for my Master's of Science in Kinesiology.
Aaron Hirschberger.
I will be marrying my beloved fiance and working.
Katrina Jansen.
In the fall, I will start Teachers College at Western.
Joel Cambulo.
I will be looking to find a job in software engineering.
Jonathan Cambulo.
I will be doing my PhD of physics at Cornell.
Aradhna Karwal.
I'm aspiring to be a CPA, a Chartered Professional Accountant, and planning on pursuing a Master's of Forensic Accounting. Thank you.
Julia Kale.
My program ends in December, so I'll be on co-op this summer and then finish my last school term in the fall.
Jesse Kerr.
I have a few summer courses to finish up, and then I'm going to be moving back to Hamilton and looking for work.
Angelica Lee.
After graduation, I plan to go into my Master of Space Studies at the International Space University.
Renee Lee Wah.
After graduation, I plan on seeking volunteer or work opportunities.
Jordan Lee.
After getting some well-needed rest, I'll be studying wetlands in the summer and also studying wetlands in my Master's of Earth Science here at University of Waterloo in fall.
Alana Maxwell.
I plan on pursuing a Master's of Museum Studies degree, but first I'm planning on taking a really long nap.
Yeah. Isabella McCluskey.
I am taking the summer off and traveling before starting law school in the fall.
Emma McNichol.
I will be moving to London, Ontario to work with Western University, and then I will be starting at Western for my Bachelor of Education in fall.
Taya Chingru Moranitz.
I'll be going back down to the States and then hanging out with family and friends.
Maya Morton Ninomiya.
I will be working part-time this summer as a graphic illustrator and then hopefully doing some traveling.
Justin Nickel.
I'll be going suit shopping and then finishing up some courses in the summer before graduating in the fall.
Hannah Nobel.
I'll be working for the summer and then going to Teachers College in Hamilton in the fall.
Matthew Jean Scarfo.
Hi, I'll be pursuing a Master's of Applied Science and Chemical Engineering here and studying soft robotics.
Arya Skrbovic.
After I finish up in the fall, I'll be sticking around a while to help with the Grable musical, and after that, who knows?
Min Max So.
With my new name, Min Max, I'm going to pursue a master's in math education.
Yisha Shung.
I'm going to a reunion with my family in China and planning to be a physics teacher.
Imogen Sloss.
I'm going to be working as a lab manager for a psychology lab here at UW.
Elliot Song.
I will be moving home and working with my friend on our capstone, trying to turn it into a business.
Nathan Douglas Toes.
After graduation, I'll be going to the Olympics on my grad trip, and then in the fall, I'll be going to Teachers College at the University of Windsor.
Alyssa Johanna Luberta van Galen.
I will be traveling to Peru this summer, and I hope to start medical school in the fall.
Yasmin Wallace.
In the fall, I'll be going to the University of Toronto for a master's in sociology.
Cameron Warren.
I'm traveling over the summer, but then in September I'll take a job as a video game developer.
Joel Woods.
I'm going to spend my summer writing music and playing church league softball and thinking about what comes next in the fall.
Sounds good. Serena Aikema King.
This summer, I will also be traveling to Peru with Alyssa and then moving to BC to pursue a career in water resources.
Cassidy Zell.
I will be starting my master's in international development studies at Dalhousie University.
Tim Zwart.
After one more term of school this summer, I'll be looking for a job in the field of computer science.
So I'd like to invite all the undergraduates to stand at this point, face the audience, and join me in offering these students our warmest congratulations. You may be seated. Colin, and I'd like to invite Colin Funk to the podium at this point as our undergraduate valedictorian. Colin Funk is graduating with a Bachelor of Environmental Studies, honors planning with a music minor. Colin has been actively involved in Grable's academic program through choirs and other music courses. In Grable's residence program, Colin has served as student council president, as co-director of last year's student-produced musical, as a Don, as a chapel committee member, as a tech coordinator, as a snack parent, and as a hymn sing organizer. So beyond these formal roles in the Grable community, Colin is also someone who understands that taking time to talk around a table in the dining room footnote, follow up later. So. Long after a meal has ended is time well spent with Colin. Colin, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Colin. I use he and they pronouns. I'm a Mennonite settler from Treaty 6 territory, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And I'm honored to be your 2024 undergraduate valedictorian. Today, we're taking a break from our exams to come together and celebrate the completion of our degrees. There was a procession, pomp, and circumstance, all to celebrate the time, energy, and effort that we have put into our degrees. When trying to articulate what the last 5 years of living and studying at Grable have meant to me, I keep thinking about an Annie Dillard quote. She wrote, "How we spend our days is how we spend our lives." When trying to describe the work of a lifetime, we think about, of course, big achievements, grand achievements, but the everyday things are what makes up most of a life. So what have our days looked like at Grable? I remember painting drywall-covered cafeteria walls. I remember getting so excited about Sunday night hymn sing. I remember drinking many cups of tea to finish assignments that I procrastinated starting. I remember late-night conversations that changed the way I thought about health or history or peace and justice. I remember late-night conversations about nothing at all. I remember conversations through shower curtains and long winter walks during COVID. I remember the excitement of being able to have someone in your room again for the first time. And I remember the joy of singing in choirs in person once again. And the little things, the daily community-building conversations, are what stand out to me when I think about the last 5 years. And I think one thing that our time at Grable has taught us is how the little ways that we build community make us resilient. Student life at Grable has changed significantly during our time here. We've experienced loss and change and uncertainty. For instance, all of the staff in student services are different than when we arrived. All of this change can feel destabilizing. Graduation can feel destabilizing. But Grable is not one thing. It's not one set of staff or students or one way of doing things. Grable is a collection of people and traditions, and these people and traditions can grow and change over time. It's been special to be part of the people and traditions of Grable with all of you. And it's been special to live our days that make up our lives here at Grable together. It's hard to let go of this place that has been such a big part of my life for the last 5 years. After being in leadership roles, sometimes I feel like Grable couldn't manage without me. But there are so many people who we have inspired that are taking on new roles and bringing new energy to Grable. It's sad to feel a place that I love moving on, and I'm so glad that it is. So as we move on from Grable, what are the places that have meant the most to you during your time here? How have you shaped the people who have been with you in those spaces? A John Green quote popped into my head the other day as I was thinking about graduation. Quote, "I fell in love the way you fall asleep, slowly, then all at once." Because it feels like we're graduating the way we fall asleep. There are slow parts of the whole term to the end of the term, and then all at once, I realized we finished our classes, we had our last chapel service, we attended our last banquet. The endings of this graduation have crept up on me, slowly, and then all at once. And as this time in our lives ends, I keep thinking about what comes next. Everyone keeps asking, what are your plans? I've developed an answer because when enough people ask you the same question, you're bound to come up with something to say. So I have a plan for the summer and the fall. When you tell people your plan, they're impressed. It sounds like you know what you're doing. It sure doesn't feel like it. But what I do know is that I'm much better prepared to work through the challenges that face me each day than when I started this degree. And I know that how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. So living and studying at Grable has been a big part of our lives over the last 4 or 5 years. And now our days will be different. So how do we graduate from this life into tomorrow? How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. We can make choices about each of our days that are in line with the way that we want to live. And as we make choices about each of those days, we'll shape our weeks and our years and our lives. Now, I haven't lived each of your lives. I haven't walked through your days here at Grable. So as we go from here, I want you to spend some time thinking and sharing with the people around you. What is your story? And how have your days here been like? And what do you want your days to be like moving forward? Thank you.
We invite you at this point to rise and join as you feel moved in singing the song of praise that is printed at the back of your program, God Who Stretched the Spangled Heavens.
Thank you, Colin. Today's next set of honorees are those students who will receive the degree of Master of Peace and Conflict Studies from the University of Waterloo in June or October. They are wearing master's gowns to recognize their graduate accomplishments. So at this point, I'd like to ask the Master of Peace and Conflict Studies to stand and move towards the stage. I will call you by name, and you will move to the microphone to tell us briefly about your plans, shake President Chance's hand, and then move across the stage to be congratulated. Nancy Corbett Brittenden.
First of all, I want to thank my husband for taking up all the slack while I did my master's. Second of all, unlike any of the undergrads in this room, I do not plan to take any more education.
Fatoumata Kamara.
First, I'm going to take a really long nap, and then I'm going to continue creating more impact in the world.
Haley Rochelle Dick.
I'm going to continue working at my full-time job, which I've been juggling with school the last 3.5 months, and then eventually down the road, I'll apply to a PhD.
Katia Amami.
I'm enthusiastic to apply what I've learned in and address in real-world challenges. Wish me luck.
Good luck. Shauna K. Harrison.
After graduation, I hope to spend some time figuring out where best I can use my skills and how I can transition from my current job to helping the local community in peace building. Thank you.
Shadrach Kamyori.
After my graduation, I look forward to contribute to global peace, working for the UN and international organizations. Thank you.
Maurice Kutsier.
After graduation, I plan on continuing to look for a position that combines my studies in peace and conflict studies and my background in community and organizational development.
Fatoumata Maiga.
I'm so thankful to be here today. Over the summer, I will go back home, continue conducting research for better policy for peace and security in West Africa.
Zachary Matthews.
I'm going to get some well-needed rest, and then I'll be throwing myself fully at a PhD.
Valeria Navarrete.
I will be starting my master's in public and international affairs at the University of Ottawa.
Panis Sadri.
I hope to be able to practice what I've learned.
Noman Sajid.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, this is making me nervous. All right, as a student of peace and conflict studies and a peace practitioner, I'd continue to impart peace and spread peace. I think the world's needed. And I'll keep making my mother proud of me. And lastly, and most importantly, getting married is on my list.
Chantal Vallis.
Hello, I'm going to continue applying what I've learned to my current role in communications, and I hope to volunteer soon.
MTS students, I invite you to come forward now. And MPACS graduates, I invite you to stay standing before you see. Please join me in congratulating the MPACS class of 2024. You may be seated. Now, students in the Master of Theological Studies program receive a conjoint degree from Conrad Grebel University College and the University of Waterloo. Today, we provisionally confer the degree with the authority granted to this college. We will symbolize this action by having Dr. Carol Penner, director of the program, hood the graduates. The University of Waterloo will soon confirm the completion of all degree requirements and will award the degree and present the diploma at the appropriate convocation ceremony in June or October. President Shantz, I am pleased to present these candidates to you for the degree Master of Theological Studies. They have been approved for graduation by the Board of Governors of Conrad Grebel University College, pending completion of all requirements in their program of studies.
By virtue of the authority granted to me by the Board of Governors of Conrad Grebel University College and the Province of Ontario, and pending completion of all program requirements, I hereby bestow on you the degree Master of Theological Studies with all of the privileges and responsibilities of that degree.
Brad Bauer.
After today, I'm going to continue pastoring in a local church and probably get some lunch.
Conrad Bueller.
What seems like a very brief moment ago, I entered the program. And this was the future. So now that we're here, and after many classroom times in which I was befuddled and bewildered and scratched my head a lot, Derek will attest to that, I think. Now I look forward to continue being an excellent husband and father, and I'm not exactly sure what the future holds.
Ryan Jednick.
Hello, everyone. I will be continuing my role as a full-time pastor in Huntsville, Ontario, with my family.
Devin Edmund Munn.
I'll be continuing my vocational discernment and education in the fall, and then I hope to be working in ministry after that.
Mary Michaela Lynn Turner.
After a few more courses this summer, I will start a PhD in theology at St. Paul University in Ottawa.
Joya van der Molen.
I will be working as a spiritual care practitioner with St. Joseph's Healthcare Hamilton.
Joel Wallman.
Moving forward, my plan is to move out of education and move into ministry, and in 2 months I will be getting married.
MTS students, as you return to your seats, I invite you to turn and face the audience, remain standing. Please join me in congratulating the Master of Theological Studies class of 2024. I'd like to invite Fatoumata Kamara to come to the lectern at this point. Fatoumata Kamara was born in the Gambia in West Africa. She obtained an undergraduate degree in political science from the University of the Gambia and went on to become a founding member of a peace-building organization in the Gambia that focuses on transitional and restorative justice issues and supports reconciliation efforts in the country. In addition to her coursework in the Master of Peace and Conflict Studies program, Fatoumata has volunteered at Peace for All Canada, worked at the Office of Ontario's Ministry of Labour, and has been a leader in the Graduate Student Association at this university. Some of you may have met Fatoumata in her role as the coordinator for the Centre for Peace Advancement. Going forward, Fatoumata Kamara aspires to work in Canadian and international peace building and restorative justice initiatives. Fatoumata, welcome.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished faculty, honored guests, and my fellow graduates. Today, as we stand on the threshold of a new chapter in our lives, I am filled with profound gratitude and hope. Reflecting on our collective journey, I am reminded of the remarkable challenges we have overcome and the invaluable experiences that have shaped us into individuals that we are today. To begin, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to our professors and faculty members who have guided and inspired us throughout this educational odyssey. Your dedication and commitment to our excellence have been the cornerstone of our academic success. You have not only imparted knowledge, but also instilled in us a passion for learning and a desire to make a positive impact on the world. I also want to acknowledge the unwavering support of our families and our loved ones. Your sacrifices have been the silent, yet powerful force behind our pursuit of knowledge, from navigating new cultures to accommodating our passions, you have stood by us with unwavering encouragement and love. Today, our achievements are a testament to your beliefs in our potential, and we carry your hopes and dreams with us as we embark on this next chapter of our lives. Moreover, I am profoundly grateful to the vibrant community we have created within these academic walls. In places less expected, we have built lasting bonds and transcend classrooms and lecture halls. We have learned that true community is forged through shared experiences, mutual support, and collaboration. Our time together have shown us the importance of diversity, empathy, and collaboration as well. For me personally, coming to Canada meant leaving behind everything familiar in pursuit of knowledge and personal growth. It was a leap of faith made possible by the unwavering support of my family and the welcoming embrace of this welcoming and incredible community. The challenges that I faced were met with resilience, thanks to the encouragement and guidance of our professors and the bonds of friendship forged with each of you. As we celebrate this milestone today, let us not only reflect on the accomplishments, but also on the people that have made this journey possible. Let us carry forward the lessons learned and the relationships cultivated. Let us carry forward the lessons learned and the relationships cultivated, and in the spirit of gratitude that binds us together. Today, we came, we learned, and we conquered. Armed with knowledge and empowered by our experiences, let us step boldly into the future, embracing new challenges and opportunities with courage and optimism. Congratulations, class of 2024. Let us use our collective wisdom and shared values to shape a brighter tomorrow. Our journey continues, and I'm excited to see the impact that each of you will make on this world. Thank you.
We invite you to rise, to join as you feel moved in another song of praise on page 26 of your booklet, Holy Presence, Holy Teacher.
welcome students from many faith backgrounds or no faith backgrounds at all to Grable. And since Grable was founded out of the Christian tradition, and we still value scripture and prayer here at Grable, I would like to offer the grads a verse from the prophet Isaiah as a promise to take with you as you transition into the next chapter of your journey, and then a prayer of blessing. The prophet Isaiah wrote, "The rain and snow can't go back once they've fallen, but soak into the ground and nourish the plants that grow, providing seed to the farmer and bread for the hungry." Please join me in prayer. Creator God, we thank you for the rain and the snow you send to earth to sustain us. Thank you for these graduating students who have been nurtured by this community and have also nurtured this community through their involvements and interactions. As they go out from here, we pray that you will help them to find other communities where they can be nurtured and grow, and help them to find ways to nurture and sustain all those with whom they come in contact. Amen.
Let's give another round of applause for the class of 2024. You know, as I was greeting each of you, it occurred to me that we've been through a lot the last 2 or 4 years. There's been a pandemic, there were building projects, there were other things. And it was hard at times, and unusually hard. And you, all of you, were more than just passive in that. You actually helped the college get through it. And I thank you for that. And I have to be careful because every graduating cohort is always above average. But having said that, there'll always be an asterisk next to this class. We feel, and I speak for a lot of us, we feel very connected to you and we're grateful to have known you, so thank you. A few instructions for what's happening next. There will be a formal recessional out of the auditorium. We often don't get that as perfectly as the processional, so be gentle with us as we make our way off the stage. Students and faculty, once we've recessed, please wait for official pictures that will be taken here on the stage. And believe me, if you all listen carefully to the instructions, it will go faster. If you're a guest and you just can't resist, you can take photos from the side, but please leave room for our official photographers to do their work. And for everyone else, please clear this hall after the recessional. We have a reception planned back at Grable. It's about an 8-minute walk or so. There will be dessert and punch, and students, your intrinsically valuable Grable graduation mug is also there for you to pick up. You'll be able to greet the students, and if you like, you may take pictures around the college with the graduands. There are multiple exits out of this complex, and it's a little complicated to give directions. There are wayfinding signs, and there are people, but if you don't know the way, I'd suggest maybe turning on Google Maps. We've also, but we'll get you all there. This concludes our ceremony. Thanks again for coming, and we'll see you back at the college.